Hello, my name is Caleb Goossen. I'm MOFGA's crop specialist, and I'm here to talk a little bit about site selection for a brand new garden. A few factors that you're going to want to keep in mind as you choose a new location. One of the primary considerations for any garden is the number of hours of sunlight it gets in a day. Ideally, the sun will be shining on the garden from the morning as it goes across the sky all the way to the west where it sets in the afternoon. One of the limiting features for a lot of gardens is not enough sunlight. Most of our garden crops really need 8 hours of sun a day at a minimum. So you can look at your own site and pay attention in the morning. When does the shadow from the nearest obstruction go away? And then when does the shadow in the evening show up again? And what's the time difference in between those? Plants really operate like small solar panels, and more sun is almost always going to be better. Another important consideration for any garden is proximity to where you're going to be most often. If it's near your house, that's ideal because you'll be able to catch problems before they become problems. You can notice when things are getting dry and water before it gets too bad. You can see pest problems before they become big problems, and you can find diseases before they really take off and take over. As Masanobu Fukuoka said, the best fertilizer is the farmer's footsteps, and that really means that being proactive can prevent most of the issues you might run into. One of the more important aspects to any garden is, of course, the soil. Ideally, your soil is well drained, a lighter texture, a sandier soil, and hopefully with a fair amount of organic matter mixed in. Of course, we all have to work with what we have. You grow where you're planted, and your soil may be heavier, a clay soil with poorer drainage, and it's just important to know what kind of soil you're working with, and that will help influence your management decisions. Another important reason to test your soil is to look for heavy metal contamination, and that's especially true if you're growing near an older building or in an urban area where there may have been a lot of lead paint previously, and that lead can get into the soil and potentially contaminate your vegetables. One of the other limitations we see a lot in home gardens is actually insufficient water. In our sandy soil, it's great because the plant soil won't get saturated and we don't often have too much water, but on a hot, dry stretch of weather with sunny days like this, which are ideal for growing, the plants can use up the water that's available to them and start to need more. And so more often than not, home gardeners start off not applying as much water as the plants could use. That's one reason why proximity to where you're going to be or proximity to your home is important. First, to see that plants are wilting, like these beets are wilting a little bit here, and also to be able to apply water easily, whether it's through a drip irrigation system that you see down here below, or whether it's the old-fashioned way by hand with a watering can. So in summary, a few things to remember when you're planning out a brand new garden are the number of hours of sunlight the area is going to get every day, the proximity to where you're going to be a lot of the time, both so that you can see issues before they become big issues, and for the ease of applying water if you need to apply water later on. And lastly, you may want to consider getting a soil test to look for the soil's drainage capacity, the pre-existing soil fertility, and also to check for heavy metal contamination. Hopefully these tips will help you plan out your next garden or perhaps your first garden. And happy growing. Good luck with it.